Do you want to try van life with me? Find out how right now. Okay, before we get to the topic that everyone came for, how to try van life with me, I want to get you up to date on the past 2 weeks inside the van. So let's first start with the lights. The lights have shown their true colors, that they're cheap, just like the cost. They were cheap. I bought these lights on Amazon. They're LED lights, directly shipped. I remember looking at the tracking information from China. So they're a lower quality, poor quality Chinese product. They're plastic puck lights. So the biggest lesson here is don't go for a plastic puck light, go for a chrome plated puck light. What has happened is the plastic puck has detached from its holder. The light's just hanging down by the electrical cord, the string. A simple fix is just gonna be super glue. But if I did it all over again, of course I would go for a chrome ringed light. So I've got the screwdriver out because my closet has not been locking. This knob fell out of that, which it's a super simple fix. And so the teeth haven't been grabbing the ball to lock that door. Well, this door of the closet locks, but this one doesn't. And that means things fall off when you drive. Fall on the ground. Okay, my next van project is going to be putting locks on the faces of the cabinets. Yes, I do love this seamless look. I love just how you see a white cabinet and the lock is hidden on the inside. It's a ball and tooth lock, so the ball essentially hooks in to the teeth to lock it. But when you're driving over a bumpy road or if you take a corner too sharp, that tension from the inside, because it has to have just enough amount of tension and just the right placement for it to lock, lines up super level with that. And even the tension has to be perfect or it won't lock. Like I said, I won't use these again. You'll hear this cringe-worthy sound and your shoulders will just tense up. And that means that's the sound of a drawer sliding open because it's no longer locked. So I want those push locks. I only have one push lock in here right now. It's underneath this bench I'm sitting on. It's the drawer underneath the bench. But I want to install those push locks on all the cabinets just so stuff stops flying open. The main drawer that flies open is the one right under the sink. And of course, it's actually hurt the slides underneath the drawer. It's harmed those because they're just constantly swinging open and pushing back and rattling around. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I mentioned this first on Instagram, but I celebrated 2 years in the van on March 10th. I flew from San Diego to San Francisco. It was like completely on a whim. I think I bought the ticket that morning, picked it up that night and drove it down the next day, which was a Saturday. And I remember being so scared driving this huge Mercedes Sprinter van. You know, it was quite an adjustment going from a small four-door car to this big diesel van and thinking, praying, hoping, wishing I just didn't sideswipe a car or really being conscious and cognizant of making a wide turn. On my Instagram post, I recently wrote about this, that I had to get used to the van's greatness and magnitude, its size, and in turn, it's really led me to grasp those qualities of myself. And now to my bank account, I paid half a fortune this week to keep the van in compliance with California law. So March, of course, when I bought the van, is when the registration is due at the end of this month. Well, I went on to pay my DMV registration, which in California, it's actually yearly. I'm actually used to you opting for a 2-year registration. That's what you could do in Oklahoma. You would pay a little more, but you wouldn't have to worry. Get this. This year's payment, $576 for a commercial van. While I was just handing out money, I thought, oh my gosh, I have a parking ticket that I need to pay. You know, when you forget about that stuff, you just put it in your glove compartment and like act like it doesn't exist. Well, that's been me for a few months, and so I remembered this time. And my parking ticket was something completely I will take responsibility for, an accident, complete human error. So there were 2 ramps and they were about 12 feet apart. So I thought, okay, well, I'll park in between those and have enough room. Well, I parked impeding just a bit the ramp. So of course that's something that you don't want to do because the people who need those ramps, maybe mothers with strollers or someone with a disability that's in a wheelchair, anything. Since I was already spending money and I was already on the DMV website, I decided I think I want to change my plate, my license plate, instead of saying Wild Bro. And if you guys want to know what that means, I have written about it before. The whole story is on Instagram. If you look at the picture where I'm actually in Canmore in Canada and I'm sitting on the van in front of Highling Peak or Chinaman's Peak Rock. But this is what I'm changing it to. Dun dun dun! Wild AF. Meaning wild and free, wild and fun, and wild as, well, you guys can fill in the blank. So hopefully the DMV approves my new plate because they do have to go through the approval process. I have a question. What should I do with my current license plate that says Wild Bro? Do you think I should keep it as a keepsake? I'm not really into like doing that though. Or do you think I should give it away to one of you or auction it off or something? And the custom license plate in California is $50. And for the wrap up of the last 2 weeks in the van, thank you so much for 2 important suggestions. So you all suggested that I start taking magnesium and potassium for my leg spasms. I started mixing a powder in with my water and the leg spasms have subsided. The other suggestion you made, put a box of baking soda opened inside your fridge for the smell, especially if you're turning the fridge off and you're turning it on and it kind of smells just like old food, or it can start to smell moldy. It's worked perfectly. So please keep your comments and your suggestions coming whenever you hear me say something and you think, oh, well, I have a tip for that. I read all of them and I love them. Now for the topic you likely showed up for. How to try van life with me. Last Friday, a journalist interviewed me. She asked me this one question that really changed the course of my mind the last week, or really started kind of like spiraled me into thinking. Are you sick and tired of people asking you, are you scared? I receive, are you scared? How do you stay safe? What do your parents think? How do you just do this? You know, I show you how to on YouTube with these videos. I show you daily living on Instagram. But that's not a real life experience. That's not getting your hands dirty and just going to do something yourself. Watching it through a computer screen or on your phone is completely different than experiencing it firsthand. You know, the anxiety that comes along with it, the highs and the lows, and things that work and things that don't work. I compare it to this. If you want to try a new hobby or a new sport, you sign up for a backpacking course, you sign up for a sewing class, a surf lesson. Well, if you just Google van life class, van life course, van life workshop, there is nothing out there. I want you to experience van life in your own van. Filling up water, filling up propane, checking the batteries and the electrical, learning how to troubleshoot, learning where to park, city ordinances versus wilderness, BLM land versus campgrounds. I want you firsthand to go grocery shopping for this mini fridge and this mini pantry. I want you to experience the anxiety of, is someone gonna knock on my window at 3 a.m. and I'm gonna have to move this van because I'm not parked in the right spot? How are you gonna make a commitment, whether it's to build a weekend or holiday or family fun van? That still costs a lot of money and requires time. Or choose to completely uproot your life, move out of your apartment and move in a van. How are you gonna do that without the firsthand experience? I am going to give a van life course, a van life workshop, a van life class, whatever you classify it as. Just do not call it a retreat, because we're not going to be hula hooping around and just taking pictures all day in our bathing suits. This is a course, 4 days, 3 nights. You come to San Diego and we go from there. This course starts in May and can continue each month during the summer. So you can have your chance of trying van life. I'm teaming up with Vancraft, a van rental company out of Oceanside, California. They have sprinters ranging from 2004 to 2006. Now you can try this all on your own. You can have this full solo van experience and have a van all yourself. And maybe that's what you want to do if you are going to do van life, or you're thinking about trying van life all by yourself. If you're thinking about trying it with a partner, then maybe you want to share the van with someone else. These vans sleep up to 4 people. There's also a rooftop tent. So you get to choose. Do you want to be the only person in the van, or do you want to share it with a stranger and get to know people and just get to become spatially aware of this space. If you want to join me for a 4-day, 3-night course, just head over to wildbythemile.com right now, put in your email address, and I'm going to send out dates and prices this week. This course is open to men and women, yet the first course I want to dedicate just to women. I want to empower women to know that they can do this by themselves, despite what society says or despite what their parents question, or just relentless questions from strangers. I hope you join me. Just head over to wildbythemile.com and sign up, and we'll see where this takes us. But I have this platform, I've created this platform, it's just kind of happened, and I want to use it for good. As for next Sunday, we're going to do a day at the beach in the van. A lot of you have been posting on Instagram about being at the beach frequently because the sun is finally starting to peek out in San Diego. And you're asking me, okay, well, what about all the sand that you track in? What about your wetsuit and your wet swimsuit and your wet towels? I'm gonna go over all of that, and something that you must keep in mind when you have wet items, whether in the winter or the summer, in a van, what you need to make sure that you have in your van. Plenty of these. So see you next Sunday, 7 p.m. West Coast time. Safe travels this week.